All right. After the wonderful Achrasat Sefer Torah that we had, it was really nice. It was nice. So we're going back to the routine. How you doing, Rebbe? Yeah. So we're doing today Parashat Bo. Shalom. Parashat Bo. I want to ask you a few questions. Don't answer, because you don't. But Parashat Bo is interesting. I want to introduce to you a few mistakes that our forefathers did throughout the history. No, it's fine. Avraham Avinu asked Kadosh Baruch Hu too many questions. His children got punished. Yitzchak made a mistake. Blessed Yaakov instead of Esav. Yaakov made a mistake. He got Rachel switched with Leah. Rachel stole the Trafim, the idol worshippers, and then she was cursed. The brothers sold Yosef, and then they paid for it in Mitzrayim, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. Mistakes are not just a kilkul, something that was fixed, that was broken. They're disasters. The things that happen, and we all make mistakes. And comes the Torah and teaches us that this is the way of the world. That's the way of the world, to make mistakes, to do, to fail, to do again, and maybe to succeed. However, from all the mistakes in which we just mentioned, these were all the mistakes, quote-unquote mistakes, or wrongdoing that actually caused Am Yisrael to become Am Yisrael. Let's go look one by one. Imagine what would have happened if Yitzchak would have blessed Esav and not by a mistake blessed Yaakov. What would happen if Yaakov would not have switched Rachel with Leah? Right? Leah contributed 6 more Shvatim to Am Yisrael. I heard a story today. You heard the story about Rav Ovadia Yosef. Everybody loves his wife, Elah Shalom, Margalit. So, hello. Shake it. So, that's the story that they say in the name of his son, Yitzchak. Apparently, she wasn't his first bashert. His first bashert was somebody else. That she wanted to go to a wedding, or not to a wedding, to a movie. And he said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to movies." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not going to movies." So he wouldn't tell me, "You're not going to go to movies." We get married. He says, "No, I'm not going to movies." So he says, "Guess what? We're going to call the wedding off." And he booked the wedding off. Like 2, 3, whatever years before Rav Yosef was niftar, a woman comes and she says, "Excuse me, tell to the shamash, please tell Rav Ovadia that his first shidduch is here." So she comes in and she says to him, "You're lucky you didn't marry me, because I don't have a womb, and I could never have barren children, and you would not have all your children if you would marry me." So mistakes. You gotta look at things a little different. Rachel died, and she died on the way to Efrat. And why did she die? And she was buried there, so she can cry and escort her children on the way to Galut, to Bavel. I'm going to tell you something. Only vain and arrogant people would think that their opinion is the only opinion that counts. Only people like that. My opinion, and that's it. Only fools don't understand that sometimes you need to make a mistake in order to survive, in order to live. You have to make mistakes. A mistake is not a mistake if you learn from it. A mistake is a mistake if you keep on repeating it and not learning from it. Only, I don't know what kind of a person, let's call them only losers could be mistaken and to think that other opinions are wrong and they hold the only true opinion. And only this kind of lack of understanding brings us to understand that sometimes mistakes are the absolute truth as much as we thought that the opposite is. Sometimes the only truthful thing, hey Avner, the only truthful thing is the mistake. So in other words, let people make mistakes. Parents who protect the kids too much without allowing the kids to make mistakes are basically setting the children for failure. You have to let your kid make mistakes. You have to. Let him learn. And if Paro was mistaken according to his mindset and it would let the Jews go, he would have saved 9 more plagues from his people. But Paro, echbidat libo, he made his heart heavy, and we're going to talk about this heavy heart. It's a long one, as I told you. He tried in all his power not to be mistaken according to his opinion. He was not willing to hear that maybe somebody else is right. And sometimes you need to be wrong and you shouldn't be right. Tell this to anybody who is married and you have an argument with your wife or with your husband and you know 100% that you are right. 100%. Sometimes you need to tell the other spouse, okay, fine, you're right. Because if you're going to continue, because she thinks or he thinks that they are 100% right, somebody needs to give up and be mistaken. Later on, after things cools off, you can tell, listen, and you can show it, and then you would actually be heard. But until then, you're gonna go into a wall. You're gonna go to the Beit Din next morning. It's okay to be wrong. So, which brings us to Paro. One of the things of this parasha, the biggest thing of the parasha is what we call free choice, bechira chopshit. So the question to be asked is, first of all, before you ask about the bechira chopshit, the free choice that was taken from Paro, one needs to ask himself, are you free? Are you free? You that preaches so much about free choice, are you really free? Buddy, you want to close the door there? So let's do a quick test. And I'll show you. You could determine if you're a real free person or not. Which is, of course, quite of an interesting question. But I can tell you that from my experience, most people not only don't know the answer, they don't even know how to approach the question if I am really a free person. Before you're going to talk about free choice, everybody get perplexed about free choice. But let me ask you a question, are you free to begin with? Because if you're not free, you're never going to be able to understand nor to practice free choice. So let's do a little test. I'll try to show you how to approach this concept of freedom. If you're going to ask people around you, you see that most of the people will ask you, if you ask them, are you a free person, will tell you, for example, what is freedom altogether? Freedom, what do you mean when you say freedom? Or in freedom of what, in what area, in what field, in what, and so on and so forth. Who really says that there is an objective definition of what freedom is all about? And a whole barrage of questions that would basically do nothing but legitimizing a way out of answering that question. They will not answer you. And you know that they're not. But the truth is that to this question there is a straightforward and a direct answer, which is very simple, very quick, and so on and so forth. If you would like, in a few minutes when we do so, you think I'll say it, and you think about it, and then you could really see if you are free or not. And then it's up to you if you want to stay in the state that you are or change it. And I'll give it to you, and so you'll see, because it really has to do with this week's parasha. For example, there's a disclaimer now, which I'm going to tell you. Famous quote. מעולם לא רומה אדם על ידי אחרים כפי שהוא רומה על ידי עצמו. Never a person was cheated and lied to by others as much as he did to himself. So when we do usually tests like that, or usually people tend to cut corners, to round up the edges, the rough edges. And there were very few people who would be willing to tell the truth about themselves. Most of the people, even come to a test, will try to push the truth to the side. So therefore, when I ask you this question, try to think about yourself very seriously, very honestly about that. And if you want later on, I'll tell you, you can write it down. So first of all, you need to write down all the most important things that exist right now in your life. Make a list of all the important things in your life, in all areas. For example, family, work, everything. The most important thing in your life. Write them down. Then I'm going to ask you the following. How many alternatives do you have today if what you have right now is going to end forever without further notice? On the spot. Think about that. Second question, that's the end of the test. How long would it take me to reach the point or to the place that I'm at right now, again, from the moment that thing stopped? Okay? Let's say for example you are CEO of a company, and all of a sudden the company gets dissolved completely, and you're never going to be able to work there again. How long would it take you to become, let's say, a CEO all over again? For whatever it is. These are the only two questions that exist in the test. Quite hard questions, right? And now the answers is, and I'm going to give you, I'm not just going to leave you with questions, I'll give you answers. In every field, in every area that you're going to find that you have many substitutes, many different alternatives here and now that I can immediately go here or there, on that area, in that field, can you close the door? Just close the door, please, the noise bothers us. In that field you are free. In that area you are free. If you don't have any immediate substitute or alternative, you're not free. Okay? This is a very interesting question. You think about everything that you do, or that you have, or you involve with your life right now. And when you're going to find out that there is no substitute whatsoever, not only you're not free, at that point you are enslaved. And that is a point to understand. Why am I telling you that? Well, I'm not doing life coaching now. I'm trying to explain to you two different types of shiabud, of slavery. First of all, there was enslavement of the Jews in Egypt. They thought there was no hope. That's what it is. There's no other substitute. There's no other way of life. That's the only way of life we know. And there's another way of slavery in which, surprisingly enough, not only the Jews weren't in it, Paro was enslaved. And that's what I said before that test when I was talking about state of mind and mistakes and so on and so forth. That's what brought Paro to be a slave to himself, which you could. So one of by the way, guys, if you want to do Netilat Yadayim, just go quickly one by one and start munching on the pizza, courtesy of Mike, Sleeping Beauty Mike. So one of the Perushim, one of the commentaries on the essence of the spiritual essence of the plague of darkness, of Choshech, that it was, and I'm stuck on this Choshech today, talks about the Choshech, Makat Choshech, let's call it darkness, symbolizes the tendency that we have, pay attention, all of you, the tendency that we have to enter a state of mind of sadness, depression, that we give up. That's darkness. To feel that forever and always our life has no meaning and no purpose whatsoever. I'm living, I don't know, is this life? Is this what it's all about? That's what I was telling your son today, by the way. You get up, all of a sudden, you're 45, 50 years old, and you're saying, what in the world is going on? And what is there left for my... That's where I'm going? And you all of a sudden get depressed. That's darkness. When life has no meaning whatsoever. When we can't find to say a good thing about myself. We are useless. I'm useless. There's no good would come out of me. I'm a bad person. Nothing good will come out. There's no change for me to become better. There's no way for me to improve. I'm stuck forever. The Egyptians, those wicked Egyptians, what they call, made their honest money, right? What they gain is not only the darkness that they put on top, the physical being, the physical reality, but also the darkness in which they were able to implant into the hearts of the people during this Makkah. For many years they tried to oppress the Jewish soul, not only their body, mainly their soul, and by doing so they punished midah keneged midah. They earned their plague for what they did. It was not only darkness on their soul, on the body, it was darkness on their souls as well. If you make a quick shift from Egypt to the reality of our lives here and now, most of us, Avner, listen, Chiquito, listen, most of us experience this makat choshech, this darkness inside our soul, if not all the time, for greater parts of our lives. This makkah of Mitzrayim penetrated into us as well. And there are times in which things don't go our way, and things are difficult, and we fall into despair, and right away we fall into a state of choser emunah. We don't believe. Right away, Kadosh Baruch Hu, sorry, recycle, out. Why did you do this to me? I'm out. Look at David HaMelech and learn from him. The most difficult times of your life, you find God the closest to Him. Now, if you look at the DSM-5 and so on and so forth, into the clinical definition of depression. Where's the psychologist over there? And that not necessarily, the darkness that I'm referring to is not necessarily what we call a clinical depression or suicidal thoughts or something like that. That depression the darkness that we feel can come to manifest itself into negative thoughts about ourselves and onto our reality. I'm not depressed. I just think that I'm a loser. I think I'm a nothing. I think that, as they say, life stinks. Life is hard. Life is not easy. But it's a big party. Life does not stink. Many times we feel that the expression of darkness in our life is a feeling that we don't have any power anymore to challenge, to fight the challenges, or to face the challenges of life. And we give up hope that this world, or the emunah, that this world could be fixed and it could be better. Now, whether he comes now or some other time, he didn't come yet. One of the thoughts of the concept of Judaism of Mashiach and building a better world is to fight that concept of darkness, to strive, to hope, to contribute, to build, not to brainwash you. I'll show you why. You should know that sadness or depression is not an averah. It's not a chet. It's not a sin. However, you should know that it's the root of all sins. If do it Hashem besimcha, worship Hashem with joy, will create such heat that it will be impossible for you to do an averah. When you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're feeling useless, you better watch out, because you're going to turn your head, and right there you're already going down the hill. You're going to make an averah, guaranteed to you. A person who is happy doesn't do averot. A person who is depressed, who is giving up on himself, who is difficult, and why this doesn't work, and why that doesn't work. A person that always looks at the negative, a person that always looks at the half empty, is a person that for sure will sin. It is a tremendous practice for a person to always try to find the good in all situations. In all situations. As I showed you before, where was it? Yesterday we were talking, right, Moshe? Yesterday we were talking. I was able even to tell him why is it good, how could it be good to find Avodah, true Avodah Zarah? And I showed you, those three guys. That's our job. Now, a person who is sad, and I'm not using the word depressed, sad, gives up to himself. He said, okay, he gives himself a pass, and he's not going to fight the Yetzer Hara, the urges, as when he feels good. It's okay, you're sick. I give you a doctor's note not to fight. And then if you take an analogy of sadness, right, in today's world, it will be like a device that you'll put in your car. That as soon as your car is stolen, if you're using the wrong key, all systems shut down, like automatic shut off for everything. It's the same thing. You can start the car and then let the car drive a little bit, but few yards down the road, all systems shut down. You can't move the car; it just sits there. Sadness will do the same thing to you. It's a valve that would eliminate any activity in you. Your spirit is not going to be able to bounce inside of you from joy. All systems shut down. You're going to find yourself all of a sudden becoming, when you're sad or depressed, you're lethargic, You don't have motivation. You don't want to move. You don't want to rejuvenate. Just as much as those Egyptians couldn't move from the darkness immobilizes them, so is the darkness that you put on yourself immobilizes you as well. You can't move a limb. If you're going to remember, and we all could remember, when we were kids, life was good. We're full of life. Running, laughing, smiling, experiencing. Full of life. What happened to us? What happened to us? And that's the question. We became, all of a sudden, it's very difficult for us. Remember the times on the summer break, the first week of summer, the first day of summer break, you jump out of joy. I don't have to go to school. Yes! When you said in your mind, I'm going to sleep until 10 o'clock, you're up at 6 o'clock. Yes, I can go and play now. What happened to this joy? Which one of you gets up in the morning with joy? Yes, it's a new day. Looking forward to. Willing to fight. Anybody? What happened to this person? What happened to that kid that used to do so in the morning? What happened to the kid who used to laugh and was full of optimism and was looking forward to life, not looking forward to Social Security and an enlarged prostate? What happened? Instead of talking about dreams, or about traveling, or they're doing all these like crazy things, we'll travel to here, we travel to there, you travel to here, we're going to go hiking, go in the Andes and the Amazons, to the same people meet 30 years down the road. He says, no, how is it for you to pee in the morning? It's still hard, taking the pills, everything is okay. What happened? Romantic. That's what happened. Darkness. That's what happened. And why all of a sudden you find yourself that having a change in your life becomes so difficult? You become imprisoned. Whoa! You become imprisoned by your lifestyle. You're afraid to change anything. You're afraid to change. Many times you will ask yourself, what do I need this whole story altogether? What do I need this for? What do I need this life for? Why do I get up every day in the morning for my house? Why do I work so hard? Who am I doing this for? This was I came for this life for? So I'm going to tell you something. Rav Nachman in Breslev one time said a story. There was a guy, he had a factory. He says, workers wanted. So 200 people came to the job. He said, terrific. That's what I want you to do. I want you to take all the water that is here on the floor, put it in the barrels, please. And that's your job, to take the water, to put it in the barrels. That's it. So, okay. They start working, putting the water into the barrels, or sand into the barrels, whatever into the... All of a sudden they realize the barrels are holes. Whatever they put in comes out. Whatever they put in comes out. Whatever they put in comes out. Half of the people said, this is a crazy job. I'm not doing this, I'm going home. Crazy, useless, pointless. The other half says, that's what he told us to do, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're getting paid for. We're getting paid for fill this up. Okay, so they're holes, but we're going to keep on doing it. That's what he told us to do. He didn't say fix this, just do it. That's what we're doing. Most of us would say, the guys who quit, they were the smart ones. It's a stupid job. What are you going to do it for? Rav Nachman says, no. The one who stayed are the smart ones. The one who left are the fools. That's what they're hired for. I'll give you an example. We had it today. We weren't mentioning. So this person is in charge of cleaning. We said to him, excuse me, this is your job. Your job is to clean this place. And for your job to clean the place, we're going to pay you, let's say, $1,000. That's your job, to clean. So today we hear a big noise. And I go outside, say, what's the problem? This place is so dirty. I have to clean it every day. I said to him, and don't think, he had 4 people helping him. I said to him, that's good for you. Why good for me? This place is crazy. I'm not working here anymore. I said, but that's good for you. I said, if the place is clean, one day we're going to come, we're going to say, excuse me, we don't need you anymore. This place is clean. Cleans itself. We don't need you. You were hired to clean. You were hired to clean. So you should be happy that it's dirty, because like this, you are needed. It's exactly what it is. Our life is the same thing. Our life is the same thing. Each and every one of us, our logic sometimes gives up because we want to see the end result. We want to see the fruit. We want to see the end result. And the fact that you work and you might not see the end result actually makes you weak. On that, Chazal says, Lo alecha amelacha ligmor. It's not up to you to finish. It's up to you to start. It's up to you to do, but not up to you to finish. Lo alecha amelacha ligmor. You need to do. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is paying you. You were brought to this world to do something, and that's exactly what it is. We look at life many times, and we hope that the reality will change. I hope my wife will change. I hope my husband will change. I hope my boss will change. I hope my health will change. That the president will change. No? Amen. Amen. Yofi. Amen. The truth is that the reality is not supposed to change. Nothing is supposed to change. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to change. You want everybody to change, and you stay the same person as you are. That's not going to happen. And all the energy that we invest and we put up to changing our environment goes in vain. You're wasting your energy, because that's not going to happen. And then what we do is we fight in darkness. We fight depression that wants to eat any good part of us. But we're never going to win like this. A strong person is a person who continues fighting and dealing, filling up his barrels. He's not running away. He's not running away to a new wife. He's not running away to a new country. He's not running away to running away. I told you, I love that song, Bob Marley. You're running and you're running and you're running away, but you can run away from yourself. It's an amazing line. It's like running away from your shadow. Our purpose in life is to show inside, to find inside of us our dedication, our emunah, the willingness to give, the power of giving. Only those are possible when you're fighting that darkness inside of you with a smile on your face and with understanding that what's really is important is your effort. We said, I think I told you this week, we learned from the Chida. The Chida said that what's the main, is not the goal, but the effort that you put in. The effort that you put into. And if you don't put any effort, It's no good. And that's what we are lacking in. We are lacking in effort. An effort to change ourselves. Whether the job is going to finish or not, what you are being measured by is your effort. Lefun tzara agra. The greater the suffering, the hardship, the greater the reward. It doesn't say if you reach the destination, because you will never reach the destination. It's a given, you're never going to reach it. And this is maybe the focal point of our parasha. And that's how the parasha basically starts. After those horrible plagues in which came on Mitzrayim and Paro received, we learned it last parasha, Moshe was sent to Paro. But this time, he already knew that Paro is a lost case. It's a lost case. Lost case. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I hardened his heart, ichbadeti et livo, I made his heart heavy, and Paro is not going to send you to free. And therefore, basically he's telling him, listen, Moshe, this guy is a lost case. We're going to make a little production here. We're going to give you 10 makot. Big noise, big production, thunders, lightning, darkness, the whole 9 yards. Paro is going to enter the history books as Paro, and so on and so forth. And after that, we're going to do an impressive exit out of Mitzrayim, and we're going to show the world how you actually build the nation. And then always there's going to be some wise guy going to come and ask you, but it's not fair. It's not fair. After all, Paro's free choice was taken. So first of all, as we said earlier, what do you really know about free choice? You're a slave yourself. What do you know about free choice? Can you explain a blind man how does a color red looks like? Impossible. You take all the words in all the human languages, all this whole power, and you're not going to be able to explain a person that never saw red how red looks like. So you, the slave, want to tell me about free choice? But nevertheless, it's always a question everybody's asking. They've been asking this question for the past 3,000 years. How is this possible? Oh, what a shanda. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not a fair being. Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible. But let me tell you something. In the Gemara, there is a person, his name was Resh Lakish. Resh Lakish gives us a rule. And he goes like this. Very simple. You give a chance to the person. 1 time. 2 times. 3 times. Zacha. 3 times you didn't fix yourself. You are already established as a person who cannot do any good. Your free choice is taken away from you. Yalla. Zacha. That's it. Finished. So the question is, wait a minute. 3 times and that's over? Resh Lakish says, yes, absolutely. So, wait. If I'm counting right, Paro got 5 chances. Why did he get 2 extra? I mean, it was already a done deal on the 3rd one. Why did he get 2 extra? The answer is very simple. Am Israel was not ready. Am Israel was not ready. Since Am Israel was not ready, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want Paro to interfere with the grand plan. So therefore, Ichbidet Libo Pa'amayim 2 more times, and that's the end of the story. So Thomas, the same thing to me. Many times. Sometimes I feel that my heart is so-called heavy, and that heaviness that I feel, I'm becoming addicted to my own self-destruction. He says we are involved in self-destruction. We know by our brains that it's not good what we're doing. But what can I tell you? The heart is heavy. The heart desires. I know it's not good, but the heart desires. So what can I do? So I need to understand that there is such thing as what we call a permanent negativity inside of me that resists and lives inside of me. This behavior is negative for me. And it does not make a difference how much would I try to change it. This door is crazy. It doesn't make a difference how much would I change it. I would never. Guys, do me a favor. Hello? Can you use the other door, please? It's okay. I'm going to lock the door. It doesn't make a difference how much would I try. I would not going to be able to change it. I'm not going to be able to change it. So what do? Am I doomed? Am I finished like Paro? Finished? Nothing? No hope for me? No hope? The answer is of course not. The answer is of course not. And let me explain to you why. If I'm going to deal with this negativity all the time, I have no hope. So what do I need to do? I cannot fight with it with force. I need to fight it with a plan, like a martial artist. I need to find it with wisdom. And what do I need to do? Is very simple. I need to start switching little parts in me to do positive action, to do something good. I need to be involved in doing good in other aspects of my life. I have one aspect in me that is bad. I know that it's bad. I cannot fight it. Let's say smoking. I know smoking is bad. I don't smoke, but let's say smoking is bad. I can't stop smoking. So what is the thing for you, for example, to stop smoking? Start doing something positive in your life. What will be something positive in your life? Continue smoking. Start exercising. Start swimming. Start exercising. And what I'm going to do slowly, is going to be like antibiotics. Slowly, that goodness is going to penetrate inside of me. And that goodness is going to do what? Is going to cure the bad aspect in me. So if I'm going to start exercising when I smoke, eventually one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to say, I know Kung Fu. I don't want to smoke anymore. Not because I fought it and I won. Not because I took some pills, or I just don't have any desire for that. It's gone. The same thing when I have something bad inside of me, a certain aspect of my life that is bad, I need to the rest of my aspects of my life to be involved in positive doing all the time. Forget about this. That would cure it eventually. And then one day I wake up and I'm changed, transformed. It penetrated into me. One thing, for example, is to learn Torah. A person has a tendency. And that's why Chazal says, Mitoch shelo lishma yavo lishma. Learn Torah, do mitzvot for the wrong reasons. Eventually you're going to do it for the right reasons. Eventually you're going to do it for the right reasons. Why? The light brings them back to it heals them. The Torah heals you. When you concentrate in the Torah, it eventually heals you. En ben chorim ela mi sheosek b'Torah. A free person is only the one who learns Torah, because it allows you that saturation inside of you, in which whatever you were enslaved to be cured, it saturates into you, and then it cures you from within. And then one day you wake up and you're a new person. So you're going to ask me, well, what happened with Paro? What happened with Torah is very simple. His heart was atum, was sealed completely. There was nothing alive in him anymore that could affect and influence the dead part in him. He was completely dead. That's why he was given 3 strikes, and then Zacha, Allah, you're out. However, we are not. It does not make a difference how bad of a Jew you are. There are certain things that a Jew would never do. I'm going to tell you something. We have the din of bitul avodah zarah. Give a goy, Gentile, I don't know, a cross. Excuse me, do me a favor, can you break this? Okay, how much you paying? $100. Okay, I'm breaking it. You go to a Jew, the biggest, not observant, not related, but he knows he's a Jew. You give him a pasul Sefer Torah. Can you make a bracha on the pasul Sefer Torah? No. So excuse me, that's a Sefer Torah you can't read. It's pasul. Can you please take it and throw it on the floor? He says, what are you, crazy? I don't care what Jew you are, nobody would do it. Because inside of you, inside of the Jew, of every Jew, there is a spot, a nekudah, in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu had put in, open the door, in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu had planted in, that could never be touched. Everyone. Every Jew has it. So sometimes when you give up, and you say, I'm so bad, you need to look for the spot inside of you that is never to be touched, is untouched, unaffected. Because the day they will affect it, that's the day that you'll pass out from this world. You have the spot inside of you. You need to look for it. Don't ever give up hope. Don't ever be depressed. Don't ever say that you are bad. You need to be able to separate the action from the person. Maybe what you did is bad, but you are not bad. You have a Jewish neshama inside of you. You are not bad. Separate the action from the person. Look for the good in any bad. Look for the good, whatever is positive, in any dark spot. And that will make the change inside of you. This is how you break free from the darkness in which Egypt had implanted in our life. This is how we cure a broken heart. This is how we cure a sick heart, a heavy heart. And we put inside of it the joy of life. The simchat hachaim. And again, if you are happy and you rejoice in your life, you're never going to come to do an avera. Guys, turn the light on, rejoice, and Shabbat Shalom.